Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripauda.
And I'm Joe Fernandez from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin convened to discuss the agenda, including the legacy projects, for this year's first cabinet meeting, slated on January 7th. Devotees from all across the country gathered to Quiapo Church for the blessing of Nazarene replicas. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s vow to grant medical allowance to qualified government personnel takes effect this year. Airports, terminals, ports, and expressways brace for the influx of passengers after the New Year revelry. The Department of Health logs 534 cases of firecracker-related injuries as of the second day of January, a 9.8% drop compared to last year. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. discussed the agenda with Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin for the first cabinet meeting of 2025 set on January 7th. Presidential Communications Office or PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez says the Chief Executive compared notes with Executive Secretary Bersamin. He added legacy projects to include big-ticket and ODA-funded projects would be up for discussion in the cabinet meeting. The leader of the land will also have private meetings to further tackle the very important topics that will pretty much dictate the course the country will take in the coming days.
Hundreds, if not thousands, or even more devotees of the Jesus Nazareno want their own copies, facsimiles, or replicas of the religious icon and its distinct image. So each of them trekked to Quiapo Church a week or several days before the procession to have them blessed. Just like today, where devotees came in droves to have their sanctified, as PTV's Rod Lagusad reports.
Around 30,000 people and over 8,000 accredited replicas of the Jesus Nazareno received their blessings in Quiapo Church. And 1 week before the actual feast, the situation has already felt festive following the activity. This is due to the accompanying drum beats of the band along with the replicas, where devotees joyfully join in, making it loud and lively. This is part of the pre-activities ahead of the annual Traslasyon. Aside from the band, there are dancers, fire breathers, and even horses pulling a replica. Early in the morning, Elena's group arrived at Quiapo for the activity. She shared that they came all the way from Bukawi, Bulacan because this event is significant to them as devotees.
Nakilala lang po namin siya nung ipinanig po sa amin, tapos po naramdaman po namin yung presensya niya. Tsaka sa akin po personally, pinagaling niya po ako talaga. Kaya malaki po yung paniniwala ko sa kanya.
For the event, a part of Quezon Boulevard near Quiapo Church was closed and blessing was held at a nearby overpass, unlike in previous years when it was done at Plaza Miranda. According to Reverend Father Robert Arellano, spokesperson for Nazareno 2025, the activity is a manifestation of the devotees' faith. He explained that they recognize their devotion and the role of the Hijos del Nazareno in helping preparing for the feast.
Tayo ay nagbabasbas ngayon upang sa gayon sa pagdating ng kapistahan, wala nang magdadala ng mga imahe at replika.
Unlike previous years when this event would last 2 to 3 days, this year it was reverted to just 1 day due to the lifting of prior restrictions. Father Arellano reminded the devotees to make their celebration of the feast meaningful.
Sa kauna-unang pagkakataon, hindi lang ito selebrasyon sa Quiapo Church, kung hindi ito ay magiging pambansang kapistahan na sa buong Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, mayroong ding pagdiriwang bawat parokya.
Quiapo Church is in cooperation with the police in prepping for the expected and massive surge of devotees for the Traslasyon. Meanwhile, they are also preparing for the tomorrow's anticipated crowd for the first Friday liturgical celebration for the year 2025. From PTV Manila, Rod Lagusad, Balitang Pambansa.
The National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO has deployed over 14,000 cops in preparation for the Feast of Jesus Nazareno on January 9th. According to Philippine News Agency's report, NCRPO Acting Director Brigadier General Anthony Sabrin said the deployment includes 12,168 officers for area and route security and 2,306 personnel who will serve as augmentation force. NCRPO's preparations for the annual religious activity came right after the Philippine National Police or PNP's Ligtas Paskuhan Safe Christmas initiative.
Government employees will get a much-needed lifeline in the form of Health Maintenance Organization or HMO type of assistance that will help them shoulder their medical needs and not to worry too much about the constant day-to-day bills that often overwhelm many of those who are in public service. PTV's Noel Talakay tells us more.
Bernabe, a senior citizen and a government employee, says he can feel that his body is in deterioration nowadays due to aging. However, resists any visits to the doctor for fear he could not pay even for a checkup.
Yung nananakitang kaso-kaso, minsan parang nahihilo. Pag nakakaramdam ako, nire-relax ko lang yung katawan ko.
He says his salary is enough to feed his family, pay the bills, and support other daily or essential needs.
Nangihinayang ako sa mababawasan pera ko kasi wala na akong ibang isipin kundi paggasto sa araw-araw.
With this kind of concern from the government employee will now be taken care of by the Department of Budget and Management or DBM as it recently approved the medical allowance for government employees law order directive which takes effect this year. It is 7,000 pesos every year. However, only certain government employees are eligible for medical allowance. Contract of service and job orders are not recognized as workers according to DBM's guideline. The DBM says the medical allowance can be used to cover or at least defray the cost for the Health Maintenance Organization or HMO policy for government employees. But this can be given as cash according to the DBM if government employees are paying directly to the hospitals such as emergency care, diagnostic tests, and medicine. For non-HMO, government employees should have these three reasons for having difficulty in acquiring HMO. One is remote address location or one's community is in a far-flung area. Second, no HMO branch or company available. Third is the HMO application was denied. Meanwhile, DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman expressed gratitude to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. for signing the medical allowance law, which is not only for benefits but securing healthy manpower for government staffing needs and competence in the workplace. From PTV Manila, Noel Talakay, Balitang Pambansa.
The country's premier gateway set a new ridership record for the year, just past 50 million passengers, all told, or an average of 4.6 million a month. Likewise, on-time performance hit over 83.5% over the last 3 days, peaking at 88% and change on December 31, or nearly 9 out of 10 planes flew out of NAIA on schedule. An emerging efficiency output apparently surfacing thanks to a new management hard at work, as PTV's Gen Manalo reports.
Overseas Filipino worker Hector comes home to his family in Iloilo every year. He has been working for 4 years in Abu Dhabi as a yacht maintenance operator. Because for him, no value could be ever compared being with family every Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Iba talaga pag December. Masaya. Kasi masarap pag nagtipon-tipon kayo.
And from Iloilo, Hector went to Manila again because today he flights back to Abu Dhabi.
Sa tuwing uwi ko, parang ganun pa rin. Okay naman. Pagdating ko dito, maayos naman.
Josica is from Calamba, Laguna and flying to Bohol today. She will be attending his mother and sister's birthday. She went to the airport early to avoid the expected load of passengers.
smooth naman po at saka nung pumasok po ako dito, okay naman. Hindi po ganong crowded.
According to the data of NAIA, over 130,000 incoming and departing passengers have been recorded today at the airport, and this number is expected to climb in the next days. Ninoy Aquino International Airport recorded the highest number of passengers last year, which hit over 50 million passengers. It is 10 points higher than the 43% in 2023. NAIA has recorded almost 300 flights, which is higher by 4.83% in 2023. The airport also recorded an average on-time performance or OTP of 83.36% from December 30 to January 1, where the OTP has reached 88.35% on December 31, the highest since NNIC took over the management of the airport. According to the NNIC, they are targeting to fix airport infrastructure and streamline operations by 2025, which will greatly help in the growth of tourism and country's economy. From PTV Manila, BN Manalo, Balitang Pambansa.
Despite consistent warnings from authorities, many still choose to celebrate New Year literally with a bang, lighting up firecrackers, sadly often illegal ones, just to usher in 2025. Unfortunately, this often results in numerous injuries that no less than the Secretary of Health take on by doing routine rounds in some of the busiest hospitals in the metropolis. PTV's Ben Manalo has the full details.
As part of the Ligtas Christmas sa Bagong Pilipinas in hospital preparedness rounds, today, the Department of Health, spearheaded by Secretary Ted Herbosa, visited the Philippine General Hospital, Manila Doctors Hospital, and Tondo Medical Center. Based on the records of the Philippine General Hospital, as of January 2, 2025, 17 victims of firecrackers have been documented so far. 15 of them are men and 2 are women, 7 children and 10 elderly. Most of them sustained visual injuries or impairment from up-close blasts from skyrockets or quitties, Judas Belt, 5-star firecrackers, and more powerful versions. And most of them were exploded with quitties, Judas Belt, 5 stars, and triangulo. This is 2.5 times more than the 13 cases recorded in 2023. The road traffic injuries recorded by the hospital increased by 60 in 2024 from last year. The hospital is also on the watch for communicable and non-communicable diseases this holiday season. Hospital recorded bronchial asthma cases rose 20 more in 2024 compared to 2023, as well as the increase of acute coronary syndrome. The hospital recorded strokes in 2024 dipped slightly compared to 2023.
Siguro very important mag-focus ang Department of Health sa prevention and health promotion, disease control.
One firework-related injury was recorded at Manila Doctors Hospital. Road traffic injuries recorded by the hospital last year dropped by more than 20 incidents compared to 2023, same as the recorded cases of communicable and non-communicable diseases. At the Tondo Medical Center, 46 fireworks-related injuries are on record, while 79 road traffic injuries were reported.
Yung sa road traffic injuries, magpapatulong tayo sa iba't ibang ahensya. Nandiyan ang PNP, nandyan ang MMDA, nandyan ang DPWH. Yung mga kuminsan lighting lang ng kalye, kuminsan nangyayari to sa gabi.
According to the Bureau of Fire Protection, the reported fire incidents related to firecrackers was lower this year compared to last year. The department still continues to remind the public to take care of one's body and physical health and be careful and alert behind the wheel to avoid accidents. From PTV Manila, BN Manalo, Balitang Pambansa.
The Department of Health reported the number of fireworks-related injuries recorded during the New Year celebration has climbed up to 534. The total is 9.8% lower compared to the 592 cases monitored during the same period last year. The DOH also reported a total of 356 victims suffered skin burns, while 28 underwent amputation procedures. Like a law in physics, an action will always have an opposite or equal reaction. Thus, if there were those who traveled to the provinces to spend the holidays, Then there will also be those who will travel back to the metropolis after the end of all the festivities. PTV's Noel Talakay gives us the update live at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, RPTX. Good evening, Noel.
Princess, a day after the holidays, the situation of some terminals in Metro Manila are still normal. The management of these terminals are expecting the passengers influx over the weekend. And they're also saying that some Filipinos who went home to their provinces extended their vacation.
Emily arrived at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange or PITX from Dagupan at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay naman po, masaya po. Pero medyo magulo siyempre. May papasok, may palabas ng mga pasahero.
In just few minutes, a bus coming from Occidental Mindoro set foot on the same terminal where Jason is one of the passengers.
Okay lang naman po. Sa ngayon hindi naman gaano traffic. At dito madali na naman po makabalik din.
Jason and Emily are among the multitude who went to their home provinces to celebrate the holidays, and now they're over. They're headed back to Metro Manila as early as they could to avoid the exodus of passengers this weekend. In Manila North Port, passengers from different provincial ports have arrived at the port of Metro Manila. One of them was Dennis from the port of Zamboanga.
Marami na po yan. Dumating kasi kami 7 eh. Mga 4 na oras lang po.
The Philippine Port Authority is expecting the peak of passengers tomorrow, which might reach over 3,000 passengers. Most of the bus terminals along EDSA Cubao and EDSA Kamuning still have few passengers today. According to authorities, this might some Filipinos who went to their provinces extended their vacation. In the North Luzon Expressway, there were still few vehicles at the toll gate today. The NLEX management is expecting an inflow of vehicles over the weekend.
Princess, as of this time here in PITX, as you can see behind me, the influx of passenger continues and it's increasing. As a matter of fact, around 6 o'clock tonight, PITX was able to record over 136,000 passengers, and it went up around 7 o'clock. It went up to 145,000 passengers. Princess?
Thank you, Noel Talakay. Meanwhile, on our other news, for the weather, the northeast monsoon is affecting extreme northern Luzon, while the shear line is affecting the eastern section of central Luzon and the rest of northern Luzon. Based on Pag-asa's latest weather forecast, Bicol region, eastern Visayas, and Quezon will have cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms brought by easterlies. Shear line will bring cloudy skies with scattered rains and isolated thunderstorms in Apayao, Cagayan, Isabela, and Aurora. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms will be felt in Ilocos region and the rest of Cordillera Administrative Region and Cagayan Valley. Cloudy skies with rains will fall in Batanes. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms due to localized thunderstorms.
Coming right up, Sulit and Nutri-Rice to launch this year.
Bago City evacuees thank government workers who stayed with them during the holidays. Stay tuned. Balitang Pambansa will return after a quick break.
Ito ay kwento ng isang benepisyaryo na sa halos 3 dekada ay inalagaan ang kanyang lupa sa pag-asang balang araw ay maaari na niyang tawaging tunay na kanya. At sa taong ito, sa wakas ay nakamit na rin niya.
Ako si Orlando Ramos sa 68 ang edad. Nagapuyo diri sa Barangay Santa Fe, sa Bago City Province. O isa ko sa mga ARB beneficiaries.
Ayon sa kanya, ang paghihintay ay may kasamang mga pagsubok habang inaalagaan niya ang kanyang sakahan simula noong 1995. Ito ang kanyang pangunahing pinagkukunan ng kabuhayan dahil hindi niya natapos ang kanyang edukasyon. Noong ika-24 ng Mayo, isa siya sa mga personal na nakatanggap ng titulo sa isang okasyon na pinangunahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa tulong ng Department of Agrarian Reform. Mahigit 8,000 titulo at 12 ektarya ang naibahagi sa mga magsasaka ng Zamboanga mula nang nanungkulan si Pangulong Marcos noong Hulyo 2022. Noong araw na ito, nakamit ni Orlando ang kanyang pinakaaasam na titulo para sa mahigit 2 ektarya ng lupang kanyang sinasakahan.
Salamaton ko sa atong Agrarian Secretary, walay lain kundi si Conrado Estrella, sa programa sa Agrarian Reform. Labaw na gyud sa atong presidente nga si President Bongbong Marcos. Ug naay isa pa nga say ang amagi, diin mismo dito siya nga nagsugod ang agrarian programa.
Pagpatak ng 1:00 ng hapon, sama-sama tayo tumutok sa sentro ng mga balita. Bilang mga tagapaghatid nyo ng tapat at napapanahong impormasyon, kasama sila Aljo Bendijo, Naomi Tiburcio, at Angelique Lazo. Sentro Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 ng hapon. Dito lang sa PTV.
The Department of Agriculture or DA will launch the Sulit and Nutri Rice in the Kadiwa Pangulo outlets this year. Agriculture Assistant Secretary Arnal de Mesa said the price of Sulit rice will range from 35 to 36 pesos per kilo, while Nutri Rice will cost 37 to 38 pesos per kilo. Apart from Kadiwa stores, Sulit and Nutri Rice will also be available in some markets and train stations. The supply of Sulit and Nutri Rice will come from both imported and local sources and will be managed by Food Terminal Incorporated.
Sa ngayon ay marami tayong supply at we can assure the public that marami tayong enough na supply para sa lahat.
People who celebrate and party with you in good times and special occasions are touch and go in one's memory. Those who show up and stick with you in your dire need or darkest hour, they are forever etched in one's heart and mind. Just like the government people who stayed with Bago City evacuees who sought refuge from Canlaon's wrath and spent their Christmas and New Year's Day celebration away from their families, as Philippine Information Agency Western Visayas correspondent Bernard Susbilia reports.
Evacuees in Bago City expressed their appreciation to government personnel who stayed with them during Christmas and New Year celebrations. Even away from their homes, evacuees at the athletes' quarters of the Manuel Torres Sports Center in Bago City were still able to joyfully celebrate the holiday season. Thanks to the care and concern given by government personnel who celebrated Christmas and New Year with the evacuees instead of spending more time with their respective families. 43-year-old Benvenido Oplas from Barangay Ilihan, Bago City said that spending Christmas and New Year in the evacuation center was disheartening, but necessary to ensure the safety of his family members, especially amid Canlaon volcano's continuing unrest. Oplas thanked all social workers, barangay health workers, evacuation camp personnel, police, and other government personnel from the city and national governments who have been tirelessly working to guarantee their safety and well-being in the camps.
Pasalamat ko sa nagbulig di sa amon, kag wala man nagpabaya sa amon dire, Bago City Government, DSWD, CSWD, BHW, Police, para lang sa amon safety dire, gasakripisyo sang ila Christmas nga upod kami, gasakripisyo sang New Year nga upod kami, nga wala sila sa ila palimalay, pagpaabot dire sang amon Christmas gift, pagkaon, sobra-sobra, Macdo, Jollibee, pero labi sa tanan, pasalamat ko nga paghalin namon to sa amon pag-evacuate, pag-abot namon dire nga may sa evacuation center, nga wala gani may naglaom nga may dangpan kami, no? May dangpan kami nga tulugan, mahamtang kagid blas imo pagtulog, no? Tapos ang hindi mo na expect ng mga pagkaon, kaya nag-evacuate ka, nahimo sang city government o Bago.
Although they are well taken care of inside the evacuation center, Oplas aired his concern over their livelihood, education of their children, and repair of their homes once they are allowed to return. Janelyn Medel from the same village in Bago City also expressed her appreciation to all government offices and agencies that never cease to provide crucial aid to evacuees.
Mukhang salamat sa City Bago kung sa diin wala kami nila pabayaan ginto do support kami nila sa time nga ang kanlao naglupok na.
Evacuees are thankful for the help they are receiving in evacuation centers, but they cannot help but worry about their farms and properties due to ashfall. From the Philippine Information Agency Western Visayas, Bernard C. Sarcesvilla, Balitang Pambansa.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, confirmed the Philippine Navy has taken control of a submersible drone found by local fisherfolk in Masbate. According to a report gathered by the Philippine News Agency, Rodney Valenzuela and his group discovered the drone while fishing in San Pascual and headed over to the police. AFP spokesperson Colonel Cerces Trinidad said the Navy is investigating the drone's origin and purpose. He praised the fishermen for their vigilance and emphasized the importance of cooperation to protect the country's maritime territory. The AFP remains committed to ensuring the safety of Philippine waters.
Japan has downgraded travel advisory levels to some parts of Mindanao. Meanwhile, the Quezon City government has introduced an eco-friendly and electric-powered buses as part of the city's free public transportation service. These and other stories in tonight's roundup of Philippine News Agency reports by Kate Renya.
The Bureau of Corrections, or Bucor, has ordered all superintendents of prison and penal farms to take precautionary measures to prevent any untoward incident following a stabbing incident in the New Bilibid prison that resulted in the death of an inmate and injuries to 2 others. Bucor is withholding names of those involved until their families have been informed. Meanwhile, National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-ELCAC Executive Director Undersecretary Ernesto Torres Jr. said Filipinos can now celebrate Christmas and New Year without fear of communist threats as the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, or CPP-NPA continued to weaken. According to earlier reports, 88 of the 89 guerrilla fronts have been dismantled through the government's joint military and civil efforts. However, Torres stressed the need for continued vigilance against the communist insurgents' tactics of deceit, exploitation, and violence. The Department of Tourism, or DOT, said Japan's lowering of travel advisory levels to some parts of Mindanao is a welcome move and an affirmation of Mindanao as a safe destination for tourists. In an advisory that took effect December 19, the Japanese Foreign Ministry lowered its travel advisory from Level 2 to Level 1 across the entire Davao region, Misamis Oriental Province, and Surigao City. Meanwhile, the eastern part of Sarangani Province was downgraded from Level 3 to Level 2. The Quezon City government launched 6 new electric buses for its free ride service. Starting today, these e-buses will operate along City Bus Route 1 between Quezon City Hall and Cubao. Each bus can seat 41 passengers and includes wheelchair ramps for PWD accessibility. From PTV Manila, Kate Renya, Balitang Pambansa.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology has already completed Phase 1 of the government's National Fiber Backbone Project. DICT spokesperson Assistant Secretary Renato Paraiso says government expects to complete by March or April this year Phases 2 and 3 of the project, while Phases 4 and 5 will be funded by World Bank. Upon completion, the agency expects fast, secure, and reliable internet connection for the government that will expedite the delivery of service of the current administration, especially in the education sector and to far-flung communities as well.
At inaasahan namin dahil doon sa National Fiber Backbone, hindi na nila kailangan masyadong maraming capital outlay doon sa pag-connect sa iba't ibang parte ng ating bansa, mapapababa naman yung presyo ng ating internet po.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I am Princess Habiba Saripaudak, and this is
Balitang Pambansa.